What is up, ninjas? My name is Samworld, and today we're going to be learning how to utilize the mid-side EQ to quotation marks save the master, as you can always go back into the mix and fix it. However, if you're the type of producer that likes to move forward with the music, in essence, you don't want to get stuck in loop land, and you don't want to get stuck trying to get the perfect mix down, so you bounce down your mix down and you go, okay, I'm going to do the best master I can and just release this track, then mid-side EQ can save that day. You can also utilize it on leads, but you'll see how it's going to work if you utilize it on this track, which I used in the previous video. I would like to give a huge shout out to the Isotope guys for hooking me up with Ozone 9 and Neutron 3. For this tutorial, we're actually going to be utilizing the Ozone 9 equalizer for this, but don't fret, you can still do it with Ableton's standard EQ, as it does contain a mid-side feature. Now, what mid-side EQ is going to do, guys, is it's going to separate the signal into mid and sides. You're going to have your side information, which is going to contain mostly stereo information that is more towards the sides of the mix, and this mid signal is going to contain stereo information from the mid and also your mono information. So don't get it mixed up. It's not mono and stereo. It's just going to be, again, mid and sides. Now, the reason this is so powerful is, of course, let's say you want to EQ something. Maybe you're adding a more body to your mono lead, but you don't want to add it to the stereo signal as well. Then you can use mid-side EQ for that. Let's say that you have, for instance, in my scenario, the side signal is just too dirty and it sounds a bit like too muddy. You can go in, alter the side signal without messing with the mid signal that already sounds good. So in today's video, we're actually going to be doing that and talking a little bit about how to do it, how you want to approach it. As always, guys, if you want to support my channel, make sure to head over to evilsounds.com. That's the best way to do it. Support my sound design work. And if you guys want to see a tutorial on Ozone 9 or like an overview video on it, or Neutron 3, let me know in the comments. Hit that like button so I can make it for you guys, as I do get asked a lot. I just want you guys to work a little bit for it. And with that being said, let's get straight into Ableton. Welcome inside of Ableton. Now we're going to get straight to work here, guys. We have Ozone 9 open, but like I said, in the Ableton EQ, you can find that MS feature as well and switch around here. However, I want to use Ozone 9 for this, as I did get it for free, and I'm going to treat it as I just bought it as well. So I might as well use it and just test it out. So in order for us to utilize, again, the mid-side EQ, we're going to have to go here, and we're going to split our signal to mid and side. Now, once we're here, I can explain it a bit better. The mid signal is going to be in the center, everything in the center. You are going to have a bit of stereo information, like I said. Okay, and then we're going to be able to solo the side signal, and this is how the side is going to sound like. Now, you're not going to hear the lead here, maybe the top end, as I did add a layer to the lead that has a bit of stereo and the reverb, but you're mainly going to hear mostly the pads, maybe wide drums, and stuff like of that sort. So as you guys can see, it sounds a bit questionable. There's obviously a lot of mistakes I made during the mixdown stage of the track. But again, I'm trying to get the best I can out of the master. This is where I'm correcting a lot of issues I probably had that I can go into the mix and fix. But again, a lot of people like to work forward and they never want to move back, because then you just start getting stuck in loop land. So we have to work with what we got. So in order to work with this, let's assume we bounce it down. We don't have access to the project file anymore. We're going to use mid-side EQ to fix some issues. Now, obviously, the mid signal sounds great. There's maybe one thing I'm going to be doing, but everything's going to happen in the side signal for me, as that's where I find it sounds a little bit, again, questionable, a bit too harsh. The first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of stuff in the side signal so I can use a flat high pass here. Probably to around there. From there, I need to find every other issue that's happening, and one of the biggest issues I have with this is actually going to be that choir sounds a bit too harsh in a certain frequency. That usually happens just because you have too much frequencies there, or it got oversaturated or over compressed or over processed. So I need to go in and correct that. So I'm going to solo this until I find the spot that I want. And again, I'm only doing this to the side signal. So around here, you can kind of hear this sort of that kind of vibe to it. So I feel like that's a spot where I would probably like to, again, EQ down a bit on. So we're going to definitely do that. And now we're going to unsolo. Now, the cool thing with Ozone 9 is I can turn that off without getting off of my solo on the sides only. So a little bit more tameable there. Now we're going to find another one so we can go in again. I feel like there is one more. And it's going to be around here. So we're just going to clamp in. Notice how much cleaner it sounds like now. Now, I'm actually going to add a bit of a boost here. A good technique to do is if you want your stereo signal to get a bit more presence, a bit more width, you can always boost the highs a bit on it. So just a bit of flavor there to give it a bit more air. From here, I think there might be one more around here, maybe around like 35 or something. There we go. That one's just nasty. Now, I don't want to reduce too much on all of these, but we'll try it out, and then we might get rid of the number 5 one if we find this is the culprit. So let's get out of there. Okay, now to you this might seem like we're doing crazy reductions, but we're actually not. We're just lowering by around 2 dB on this one, 3 dB. So it's not crazy like we're squashing down on them and removing them fully. No, we're just taming them because to me, they just sound a little bit too harsh. I am definitely going to move this guy up, maybe switch that to maybe a resonant one so it actually doesn't, again, lower all of the signal down here because you can kind of see we're starting to reduce there. So we'll go with this one like so. So with our stereo signal cleaned up, I feel like the only last thing for me to do on this track to get it to where I want it to be at and no more turning around and fixing stuff. I got to commit at some point to whatever I'm making. And honestly, it didn't even sound half bad already. But again, the perfectionist and everyone always wants to push the track even more. But what I feel is the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add actually a boost to around the thump of the kick. So I'm going to choose a bell EQ here. And I'm going to go and target more of the thump of the kick, which we're going to find between 100 to 200 hertz. Everything below 100 is going to be more sub information. That's not the thump of the kick. That's more of the sub territory. I want more of that feeling that the kick is actually hitting, which I don't feel the track has that feeling yet. So we're going to add it. Maybe a bit of a boost would help. So let's try and find it. We're just going to solo here, go into mid here, and just solo that. There it is, baby. You feel that body, that warmth? Okay, so now we're going to unsolo it and then we're going to hear. And we're going to turn it off and on just so that we don't get stuck in like, oh, it did something. You got to hear the difference. Okay, so I want to go somewhere to the track where I'm actually going to hear the kick a little bit more. There's not a lot going on just to make sure it hits here. So we're going to test it out over here. Let's do it maybe here. So we're going to unsolo it again. Okay. Now, one of the problems that might arise with the mid-side EQ is that you might ruin the rest of your mix if it's just in that specific part of the song where you find these kind of errors. So when you're doing this kind of stuff, make sure you check everywhere in your track to make sure that these fixes are not thinning out the track. They're not making it sound less weak, but it's actually also accentuating other parts of your track. Now, if you're making music that, again, like this track, utilizes a lot of the same elements over time and opens them and evolves them, a lot of times these fixes you made might work overall in the whole song. So we're going to go into the break and just see the difference as well, which is going to be right here. So we'll just start it from here just to make sure again that my EQ is doing something useful there. With it off. Now with it on. Oh, wow. All right, so now let's move on to the drop and just hear it one more time with it on and off. It's so funny how just that simple EQ right here can add so much. Now, as you guys are watching this tutorial, I don't want you guys to make the mistake of going like, I'm going to do this exact same thing to my track, as again, every track is going to be different. The purpose of this EQ, this tutorial is to actually show you how you can use mid-side EQ to accentuate your track, to clean up little errors in the mix that you might have not caught in the mixing stages. Because again, you always want to kind of move a bit more forward with the track. You don't want to get stuck in a loop. And one of the problems that happens is, since we have access to essentially the mixer the whole time, we can go back and switch a lot of stuff. We get stuck in this loop where we start to switch stuff and we're like, nah, okay, that sounds good. You come back the next day, no, and then you just get stuck in La La Land. At one point or another, you're gonna have to finalize the song. A mix sound can be close to perfect, but I don't think a perfect mix sound exists. But with this, I just wanted to show you guys what little simple EQ changes like so can make a difference. And mid-side EQ is a very powerful tool for you to utilize, again, to get that mix to just sound as close to perfect as you possibly can. Alright guys, and that is going to conclude my video. If you get anything out of it, it's that mid-side EQ is a very powerful tool to, again, clean up your mix. A lot of the times you want to clean it up and you're using a standard EQ, and what tends to happen is that you mess up the mix because you're targeting the mid and the side signal. What mid-side EQ allows is a bit more surgical. You can actually go in there like an orthopedic surgeon. You're not a general medicine doctor, and you can actually get job done rather than referring people to it. So mid-side EQ, very powerful tool. We did a lot for it with this in this track. I just got a couple things more to do on this track before I'm done with it and I can move on to the next one. But I wanted to show this, guys, since this was a little breakthrough for me as I was essentially working on this track. I have everything almost to where I wanted to, and this just pushed it a little bit more there. I just feel like I need to decide a couple more sound selections, maybe switch something up in the track rather than messing with the mix more. Anyways, ninjas, you guys take care, have fun producing. I hope this is an aha moment for you. It helps you out in your productions, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.